Incidentally, he's my boss and he supervised my PhD dissertation. If you know, you know. You're welcome, sir.
The members of the high table, the emeritus professor present, the DVC, former DVC that is coming, the eminent professors and high table, the dean, faculty of education, and other deans that are available. The NAI president that will soon be here, the head department, educational management, and others that are present. I want to use the opportunity and the other protocols to start so that we can go on time. I'm speaking on education for sustainable development issues, challenges, and prospects. I want to start by asking the question, why is there no developed African nation? Why don't we have one developed African nation? Civilization started in Egypt, and Egypt colonized Israel. But now Israel is developed. Egypt is not. We are very close. Morocco is very close to Spain. Morocco is developed. Spain is developed, but Morocco is not developed, even when they are very close. Egypt and Israel, very close. And I begin to ask questions. Why is it that no African nation is developed? Did they do it in such a way that all the ones that were not developed, they put them in Africa? So this country can't develop, come to Africa. Even when I'm very close to them. Why? Because the thing continues to bother me. We're talking about sustainable development. But you need to start developing before you sustain. You need to develop. When you develop, you can sustain. And we don't know where we are. Because I know that if Africa, remember that formerly we have Asian minors. But now they're Asian tigers. China's, the rest of them, South Malaysia. They are developed countries. Why can't we develop? Why is it that we cannot develop? Even when in Africa civilization started, Egypt were building pyramids, isn't it? Hieroglyphy, everything was in Egypt. Who stopped them? Who stopped them from developing? Every year, we are anti-developing nation. We are developing. When are we going to develop? Developing. And people ask the question, is Africa cost? I cannot develop. Malaysia came here and tested some palm fruit and left. They're the highest producer of oil, red oil. And in 70s and 80s, our currency was something to write home about. Why is it that the further we are for the white men, the worse for us? Why? The white men colonized South Africa. And at that time, South Africa was becoming developed. But when South Africa left, military government, the white men left. South Africa came to the standard of Africa. Like Africa has standard. they will continue to be the way they are. But I know that one day, the only thing that's permanent is change. I will be changed one day. So when we are not talking about development, we ask the question, this development that is eluding us, what is the problem? Why can't we get it? Why can't we get it right? Is it that we don't have intelligence? You know, they don't have aptitudes? What is the problem? And we have said that, like the keynote speaker, there is only education that can lead to development. Are we not educated? Why can't we develop? Why can't we, if we are educated, if education can lead to development, why is it that we are, the whole Africa, instead of development, you see wars in Africa, wars, they are fighting themselves. Even blacks in America, the same problem. I don't know. There's only God that knows that one. So what we are saying this afternoon is, what is sustainable development? Development, you know, is not growth. Growth is different from development. So you may be growing without development. Because growth has to do with physical changes. Physical changes. And those changes are quantitative. Physical changes that are quantitative. So that you can see a child that is full grown, but is an imbecile. Can't even talk. That child has grown but has not developed. So development is functional. Development is value addition, must add value. Development is behavioral change. Remember that education, as we know, has to do with relatively permanent change in behavior. Relatively permanent change. Your behavior must change. The change we see here is not somebody that's taking alcohol and changes. No. But you may take alcohol and change your behavior. That one's not education. But the group we are talking about here, the group we are talking about here, is functional one. Nigeria has grown for how many years? For not independent. We are growing. And we can grow to adulthood. But are we developing? Remember that development has to do with what? Social development, economic development, and political development. That's the three types we have. Social development, political development, and economic what? Development. So if you are not developed economically, and not developed politically, and not developed socially, it's a problem. There's no way. We can say we are growing. We are growing in numbers. The number of schools are growing. The number of hospitals are growing. But at the end of the day, that number that is really growing, is it doing anything better? Look at our hospitals. Look at our schools. Look at the way we behave. Are we supposed to be called that we are developed? Now we come to sustainable development. Sustainable development has to do with making sure that the present needs meet their own needs. Meeting the needs of today without compromising the ability of the next generation to meet their own needs. So if I meet the needs of today and I don't care about what happens tomorrow, I'm not contributing to sustainable development. Immediate needs, let me meet this need today. I don't care about what happens. Remember that if you don't care about what happens, the society, the future, because we're talking about now and future. So whenever you are doing something, I don't talk about future. That thing you are doing is not sustainable. And that is why the problem of education is in Nigeria. Because some people say that politicians, most of them, think about the next election and not the next generation. Politicians, most of them, think about the next election, how much they're going to acquire the next election. They don't think about next generation. If my character today will impinge on the future. I'm a human being. But if I for tomorrow, and yet we say the youth of today, isn't it? Is the leaders of our tomorrow. How possible is that one? And yet we don't want to leave positions. Sustainable development has to do with taking care of now and not compromising the future. That is why you see people, when they are pressed, tell them to look for a place they will go, and they will go to the river and defecate. Open defecation. And they don't care who will now go and collect the water there and drink. The action is not sustainable. You need to care for yourself and care for others. You are not living a sustainable life if you pursue short-term goals, immediate reward, without thinking about the consequences of the future. A man is wise if his actions are guided by anticipated consequences. And wise when my actions are guided by anticipated what? Consequences. Whatever I will do, I have to think about the consequences. Will it be better for me? Will it be better for others? Then I'm altruistic. And that's when things will go well. People can pour anything in the gutter. It doesn't concern them because they want to dispatch of it. You pour in the gutter and there will be flooding here and there. So the development is talking about preservation of the planet. How do we preserve the planet? People go and do warfare, do a lot of things. They don't care whether it will be harmful to others. If our actions of today are harmful to the future, that's not sustainable development. Whatever I do, I have to care for others. So the way you care for others, that you are living a sustainable development life. So in sustainable development, we are talking about economy. Economy. We're talking about society. We are talking about environmental protection. That's the three things we talk about sustainable development. One, economy. Two, society. And three, environmental protection. That's the three things we have sustainable development. And in that case, if my actions will impoverish people, my action is not sustainable. If I'm in office and I carry all the money in the whole world and keep, when people are suffering of hunger, I'm not living a worthwhile life. Cannot talk about sustainable development. Society must benefit in whatever we do. Remember that sustainable development has to do with global goals. It's not even the goal of Nigeria, not even the goal of the global goals. And that is why they came up in 2050 and said, no, that must be need for people of the world to come together and fight environmental hazards, fight hunger, fight lack of social inclusion, fight those things that will not give us leeway. That's why Brundtland in 1987 said, yes, the education we talk about, we call that, but they're saying that there will be need for us to care about us and care about others. If I don't care about myself, I care about myself, I don't care about others, it cannot lead to sustainable development. It will lead to unsustainable, because the moment we are building, we build, so we continue to build on the future. So what we are saying is that I want especially to thank the organizers of this, because the only way the LOC chairman, the LOC, all of them, they did well to package this, because this one is timely. I don't know whether those people are hearing. They're doing their own thing there. Are you hearing? Yeah, that is why you are here. You must learn something before you go. So you can put something down. It's very important. This opportunity does not come every day. So if you see this opportunity, you make use of it. It's very important. Man shall not live by bread alone, isn't it? Not this bread that are distributing. It's not that one alone, isn't it? Listen. There will be something better you will hear. This one will continue to come. So having told you the three things that are sustainable development, in society, we are talking about social inclusion, talking about equity, talking about justice. Whatever I do and create equity, create justice, create inclusion. I'm on my way to sustainable development. In terms of economy, how can I fight hunger? Look at the type of thing we suffer now. When fuel subsidy is gone, those with one word, everybody's suffering. To buy fuel, why are you creating hunger instead of fighting hunger? We need to fight hunger and create a good economy. Instead of creating hunger, and people are not happy. Because self-development has to do with the happiness people have enjoying the world. Self-development has to do with a situation where, wherever I am, I'm happy to be created by God. And I have potential that should be unleashed. So if I'm not happy in the world I'm living, how sustainable is that work is? Yeah, poverty after poverty, that's why you look at sustainable development goals. Those goals are there. Zero hunger, zero this and that and that. Quality education and the rest of them. They're there. But what I'm talking about is, how can every society, every country, because Nigeria may be dragging the Western countries behind. If all the countries of the world can come together, they can fight hunger, they can fight injustice. That's what development is talking about. If you come together, it's a globalized world. What they do, we know what they do. But Africa should not be dragging other countries down. Africa. So I was discussing with somebody, he said, are Africans really created by God? I said, yes, they're created by God. But they decided to be the way they want to be. Problem of leadership. So in social development, we talk about how you can be happy, I can be happy. There will be no social inclusion. So then we were talking about a situation where there will be no discrimination. You don't discriminate. You come together as one. Wherever you are, no discrimination. And because of discrimination, you cannot live a healthy life, a healthy society. Without that, there's no way. But the problem now is, we talk about education for sustainable development. Education for sustainable development. The type of education we have now, can it lead to sustainable development? And the question asks yourself, the type of education we have, can it lead to a sustainable future? And begin to ask ourselves, what is education? Which type do we have? Are we really educated? Or are we trained? Remember that you can be trained without being educated. And there's no bad education. Education is a normative word. If I am educated, I'm educated in the head, the heart, and my hands, isn't it? Cognitive, affective, and what? Psychomotor. So why is it that, having gotten this education, when I enter into office, I will carry all the money because I don't have heart. But the heart is not, isn't it? But the head to think about what to carry, isn't it? The head is there, thinking about what to carry, and the hand can carry, isn't it? But the heart is not there, isn't it? That you call yourself educated. We have what we call heartless heads and headless hearts. When something is in your heart, you have feeling, but you don't have anything. You call it heartless head, isn't it? Something will be here, something will be in the feeling, something will be in the hands. We also have headless heart and heartless heads. And that is why most times we are academically giants, but morally we are dwarfish. Moral dwarfs and academic giants. That's what's killing Africa. Morally we are dwarfish. Academically we are what? Giant. We are looking for what to carry. And what we do is not sustainable at the end of the day. So we talk about education. How can education help us? And you see, so we go for, we talk about quality education. In social development, go for. So it's only quality education that can help us do what? Achieve sustainable development. And what is quality education? Remember that we have standard, we have quality. We have standard of education, we have quality of what? Education. And some people ask, what's the difference between standard? Is it not the same thing? High quality is it not standard? The standard we are talking about is expectations. The expectations. When you see this is a national policy on education. That's the standard of what we are going to get. The objectives here are the standards. So standards are those things you are supposed to achieve. Standards. A standard must be set. If a standard is set, you will now take your own quality, isn't it? Because you may have a low quality that cannot get that standard. You may have moderate quality. You may have high quality, isn't it? So if the standard is set, and I begin to put my own low quality, I've not achieved the standard, isn't it? Standard should be achieved. The quality of what we have in our schools, can it achieve the standard of education? We have primary, we have secondary, all of them are here. And when we want to evaluate educational policies, want to evaluate it, find us, ask yourself, to what extent is the education system meeting with these standards? Everybody has standards, but you work towards it through the quality of your input. Remember that quality has to do with what? Input, process, and what? Output. If I have high input, maybe the students are all right, the lecturers are good, the facilities are there. That's input, isn't it? We see, the number of professors here are 100, the number of lecturers here are 1 million. They are all right. Students are okay. That is high input. What if the process is what the problem is, isn't it? If the process will have problem. If you pay me with a younger lecturer, for example, I may not even go to teach, isn't it? I will say, continue there, continue teaching. And yet we have professors, isn't it? Most times, who will also mentor, isn't it? There's mentorship, the system. If we have 50 ones, the standard we are going to get, the process is the problem we have. But when you go for MC accreditation, you see that the students are all right, the lecturers are all right, but what about the process? That's why at times we go and see what they're doing in the classroom. That's the problem we have, the process. What do you teach? How do you teach it? It's very important. So the point of education is education where you acquire skills, you acquire attitudes, you acquire values, you acquire understanding, or attitudes to help you to live a sustainable life. Because you say education is for life, isn't it? Education is for life. That is why when people talk about education, we don't have only formal education is part of education, isn't it? Formal education is part of it. But we have non-formal and we have what? Informal. Two of them should come together. That's what study development is all about. Education, long life learning, isn't it? Long life. You continue today, from the cradle until die, you continue to read, isn't it? Continue to develop, going to have one or two things. So if education starts from the beginning, and maybe you call me, yeah, look at me, I'm illiterate. If you say I'm illiterate, it does not mean that I'm not educated. If you call me illiterate, that does not mean that I'm not what? Educated. What they are telling me that I don't know how to read and literacy has to do with ability to read and what? And not education. So if you say I'm illiterate, you are telling me I don't know how to read and what? But not that I'm not educated. But we have informal education, isn't it? We have non-formal education. It's only informal education. Talk about literacy, isn't it? Literacy and numeracy. Numeracy ability to calculate, isn't it? Literacy ability to read and write. Our forefathers, they were educated. Educated in the brain, in the heart, and in their hands. They may be literate but educated. And their own was functional what? Education. They have the heart, they have the head. And some of our forefathers are encyclopedia of local history. Encyclopedia of what? Local history. That's something they don't know. They say they know, they're educated. The reason that they're not educated formally, isn't it? Formally, but educated informally. And so the development is talking about not only formal education, but non-formal, informal, isn't it? Anywhere we are, we should continue to educate, isn't it? Going to develop. That's what Sunday education is all about. So in the case of that, we are talking about sustainability, talking about education, sustainable development. Our worry now is that education for sustainable development, how do we have it? How can we have it? But that's the problem is. Remember that education is not training. Remember that education is not indoctrination. Education is not instruction, isn't it? Education is not, but education must help us. Why? Because I must have the skill, I must have the attitudes, I must have the values in order to live an adult life. That's what education is all about. So, in the paper I'm trying to present, there are what I call imperative. Imperative education for self-development. Number one, there must be quality education. Quality education has to do with three things. Number one, having access to quality teachers. Three things, just like self-development has to do with three things too. Talk about economy, talk about environment and society. Quality education that will lead us to sustainable development has to do with three. Two, one, access to quality teachers. Two, access to technology. Three, access to safe environment whereby you can learn. Three things. Quality education, access to teachers, access to safe environment, and access to tools, educational tools. Someone talks about AI, the tools by which you can. So when you come to access to teachers, you ask yourself, because the access to good teachers will help in what? Getting quality education. Our worry is that when we teach in the classes, can this result to sustainable development? As the teacher, what about government, what about other people? The teachers, they are the fulcrum of education, even when they are not recognized. But they are the people that can translate policies into action. Without teachers, nothing. That was why when I went to teach the VA school, I was asking the teachers there, why is it that when you are not paid salary, you transfer the aggression to students? What did these students do to you? Is it not better you go on strike so that they will know that you are not teaching, isn't it? Than transferring aggression to students, good students that don't mean anything. Because a teacher is that person that creates a bond with students. Is that person that creates an exciting environment by which students can learn. Is that person that can mentor. Remember, we're talking about AI. AI cannot replace good teachers. There's no way AI can replace what? Good teachers. It will come. The time of AI cannot replace. AI cannot do so many things which human beings can. So our worry now is, if I don't want AI to replace me, I will teach well, isn't it? I will create a bond with students, isn't it? I create a very good bond with them. If students are leaders of tomorrow, are we teaching them to be leaders of tomorrow? The environment we are creating in the classroom, to what extent do we teach these students? Remember that robots can teach well. Why robots teach very well? That you see that it's the data you give to robot that you will use, isn't it? If you don't give it, it will not do anything. So because you have a large data, a robot can, it's a humanoid robot, He can stay and teach, isn't it? And the robots can teach better than some of us. It's only peculiar people who have that bond with students that robot cannot replace. Now in the class, that is why most times in some of the university have faculties here and there. We say they are not teachers, they are quacks. Why? Even when they teach the university. Because the pedagogical know-how is not there. The pedagogy is very important. Why you learn various methodologies to teach, isn't it? You can't just come and start teaching. That's because you can't do that in medicine and other areas. You come here and start teaching. In youth, when after you start, they say, go and teach. Even when you read microbiology, they say, go and teach there. To them, it is nothing. That person did not do PGD, isn't it? And you say, you should go and teach. And what caliber of person is that teaching? Remember, students should be able to say, question everything you give to them through your methodology of teaching. Some of us teach for exams, isn't it? So students now end up cramming the whole thing, then passing the exams, isn't it? Is it hard to achieve self-development? You can't. Self-development should be in such a way that you will sensitize the students. You teach them with different methods so that they will be able to understand what you're telling them and be able to question certain things. Questioning things are very important. Is it not Socrates that said that an unexamined life is not what? Living. Unexamined life. The way I teach students, can I get a bond with them? Do I have a certain environment by which I can teach? Because when you get a bond, computer cannot get that type of bond. It's only human beings that get a bond. It's only one that think outside the box as a human being. Because when you bring AI, for example, to teach, students may not have respect for AI, but they know that it is a machine, isn't it? When you say human or robot, let it come and teach, start teaching. They may be running away, but computers may not know, isn't it? They say this robot is nothing. They can go out. Doesn't concern them. When it's a human being, they say no. If you go out, I catch you. Wait, what are you doing? So a human being, there's no way computer can replace human. It will replace those people that are not doing well, isn't it? They're not creating that bond with students. They're not doing what computer cannot do. They're not creating a certain environment. That's what. So when we teach, we should be able to have the pedagogical know-how, methodologies, teaching strategies. That's what we require. I remember as we teach, make sure that you teach without what? Discrimination. Social development talks about inclusive, isn't it? All inclusive. You don't do discrimination. Oh, this is a woman, this is a man. There's no gender, no socio-economic status. You use inclusive and teach. And also as we teach, there are individual words, different, which computer may not even know. And you be sensitive to that, isn't it? There will be disabled people there. I have to vary your teaching in such a way that it will touch almost everybody that is there, whether male, female. There are certain limits of computer. The only good thing about computer in teaching is that computer doesn't waste time in teaching. There's no irrelevant things, irrelevant discussion. Computer doesn't. Immediately you set it, it begins to what? Teach. But what are some of us, when we enter the classroom, if the teaching is 1 hour, we use 30 minutes to tell stories. Yes. We are wasting time, isn't it? A lot of stories doesn't concern us. And at the end, we use 10 minutes to teach. Computer will replace those people. Those people that waste time in class. AI will replace them. AI is coming up. So if I don't want AI to replace me, I should do what? Have all the pedagogical skills and teach well, have bond with students. So that when I come, I call these students, but they are good, they are human beings. Students are our customers, isn't it? Without this way, we cannot be here. Why is it that when we teach, if students make a little noise, maybe once they made a noise, we don't even know the person that did it. You now ask them, who made that noise? They say, you know, it's in principle of management to have what we call esprit de corps, isn't it? They might not tell you, because if one person says it, they will come against you. They will not tell you. But how what we call esprit de corps. And when you say, is it that none of you can tell me who made that noise? It's okay. You carry a book. Something's happened. The first thing that happened is that you are not prepared for the lecture. That's why. So you have the opportunity to move out. And say, call me next time. When you have the people making us again. That is why we have what you call effective classroom management. Which people who did not go through education cannot have. And that's why in our University of Port Harcourt, you see some lecturers from other areas coming to do PGDE so they can master some pedagogical skill to be able to be good teachers. Most times, we deceive ourselves by saying we are lecturers, we are not teachers, isn't it? We are lecturers. As if bad teaching is lecturing, isn't it? But when you say you are a lecturer, teach whatever you like. Remember too that a lecturer is a title of a teacher, isn't it? Lecturer is a title of a teacher. It's a title, isn't it? Of a teacher. A lecturer. It's a title of what? A teacher. Okay. If you get this book, you say the primary function of every academic is teaching, isn't it? It didn't say lecturing, isn't it? The primary function of every academic is teaching. That is why if I not teach and community service, the main thing they know that we do is what? Teach. Anytime I not teach, they say we are strike. And they will not pay. They are not paying because we are not doing research. They are not paying because we are not doing community service. They are paying because we are not teaching. And that's what they know. So, if teaching is the primary function of academics, that will lead to social development, because the way you teach the students is the way they react. Most times the university will say 75% attendance. Student must come 75% attendance. Will come before they write exam. That's what university says, isn't it? Why? There are two things. Either that if those students stay at home, they will not learn, isn't it? So it's better they come to the class and listen to what the teacher is teaching. I think they should be forced to come and learn. Because some of them don't know why they're here. That's why they're mandated them. But another thing is, if I come to a class and you are not teaching anything, you are not teaching well, and because you are not the era of technology, I can go and download TBF, isn't it? And start reading something instead of coming to witness what I teach in the class. Will you kill me? If you're not doing well, if you are doing well in class, people will come. And classroom is exciting environment. They will come to learn from that person, isn't it? And when you teach them in such a way that they will not involve in cramming, isn't it? There are so many people you can use questions, you can use debates, you can use inquiry system to teach the students so that we learn. When I went to Kogi for this, I was asking for final year students, their final year. I said, how many of you here will say, please don't teach me again, give me a certificate. There's no need to stop in my life. Some of them raise their hand. They raise their hands. I said, so you don't want knowledge. You want certificate. What am I going to do with knowledge? Give me a certificate. Let me go. I said, so I'm wasting time here. They said, no, sir. So by teaching you, by coming to ensure education It's transmission of what is worthwhile to those that are committed to it. Behavior must change. If I'm educating, my behavior must change. If my behavior must change. And when my behavior changes, it needs to solid development. It needs to solid development. If I'm educating, I go there and start urinating where people are passing. Something is wrong with me. Something is wrong. Because education has to do with relatively permanent change in behavior. Your behavior must change. Why is our behavior not changing after getting education? The way we are is the way we are. Our attitude and mentality is not changing. Remember that what we have in terms of mental development, in terms of physical, in terms of emotional, is unleashed through education. Without education, I can do nothing. Why is it that in this education system, we are not even helping ourselves, helping the students? Why do we allow people to teach the students without knowledge? Primary and secondary school teachers, because some of them did not even pass through this. All they know go and teach, and none of them are going to teach. Most of them. What do? What they do is to, when they come, they carry cane and put it there, and so be watching it, and they're going to flog on with this cane. That's what they know, power without authority, isn't it? Then there must be authority and what? In administration, authority and power. The authority I have as a lecturer is what I know to teach, isn't it? The competencies. So when I come, I start teaching, people know that this is that's the authority I have. It's not by flogging people. It's not by flogging people. It's not by sending people away. A little to send the person away. When you send them away, who will you teach? Get up. All of them will get up. Are you teaching yourself? That is a problem. Because facts are dominating the teaching profession. And our sister faculties come and learn this thing. They say no. The National Board of Education said that every teacher must indulge, must also come to at least PGD level. Come and do it. And learn pedagogies, learn new methodologies, learn new skills. So that when you teach, children can have sensitivity, they can have creativity, they can have critical mindedness. When we're talking about critical mindedness, are you creative? Can you question certain things? Now AI has come. If AI has come, at times AI can make mistake. Not like when I'm punching computer, isn't it? Can make a mistake. If I'm punching 2 plus 2 and the thing gives me 5, will I take it because computer? You have to use your sense, isn't it? To know that computation is, that's why human reasoning comes. Remember this AI, what they do is to do what? What they do is to ensure that they enable a machine to think like human being. Listen, they enabled him to reason like human being. They enable him to think, to criticize. They enable him to develop one or two things. I remember as a limit everything. It's what you give to eat, that's to what? If you don't do well, it's garbage in, garbage out. It's faster than play in certain things. If you want to do something research, isn't it? Quantitative data, you push it there, we give you results. But you need to, because the type of education that can use a certain development is education where I can question everything that comes my way. You know, it's education for life, isn't it? Lifelong education. Education you give into it must be for life. After my master's degree, one of my colleagues said I should come and get a job at this former Afribank. So when I went there for interview, they started asking me, because I had master at that time, my friend, you said you did first degree education, did first degree masters. Why are you here? Do you think that you can do this banking job with the qualification you have? I told them that it's that they don't know the definition of education. If you know the definition, know that education is for problem solving, isn't it? Ability to solve anywhere it is. Should think outside the box. If you are properly educated, to solve problems, isn't it? That's the education I have. That education I have, the one that can solve problems. I can think outside the box, I can create, I can question certain things. You don't take everything that somebody gives to you. You have to question certain things. And if we don't properly make this that question, some of the content of what I'm teaching them. That's some of them don't come to play. And some of that, and that is why computer will also replace those who collect money from students, isn't it? But computer cannot collect, isn't it? You replace the, isn't it? Computer will replace sense for grade, isn't it? Sense for grade. If a human computer is there, you will not be doing, those have that feeling, isn't it? We have feelings. So if we are working trade, is sense for grade, or you are at a time that it doesn't matter, correct? What mean that we need computer to replace those people, isn't it? Yes. You may understand that computer cannot. If you are the time that you don't come to class, every time you are not coming, you are not doing whatever you do, it doesn't concern you. It's the time that computer replaces AI. We come and replace them, isn't it? So we have quality. What is our quality education? Quality education that can tell you, can make you to think, to reason, to create, no matter however you are. In order to, so that is the type of education. We're not talking about education where you come to the class, you dictate notes for students, and they have to start right. The methodology you are using cannot be the thing, not the create. One certificate. And I normally tell them, if you want certificate, go to my trade, they will print one for you. Don't come to school, isn't it? Tell you we're coming to school. For you to come to know the content, what I'm talking about, so that you can, it's only education that knowledge is power, isn't it? Knowledge is power, not certificate. Knowledge is what? Power. And if you want to be your own master, you must arm yourself with power that knowledge gives, isn't it? Power that knowledge what gives. There is intrinsic advantage of teaching, education, extrinsic advantage. The extrinsic advantage is to get job, isn't it? But what are the inner confidence you have to discuss with people? Even if Buhari, whoever comes here, you can discuss with, isn't it? Very, very well. The confidence is there. But we have seen education as a commodity. Commodity, so money. That is why in universities, you see some vice chancellors. Okay, vice chancellor is not yet. But you see some vice chancellors. What do they do? They are looking for how to get money, isn't it? Well, how can we get money? Create market square. We can create this. But the soul of a university, is what? Three things. The soul of a university is three things. One, students committed to learning, isn't it? Students committed to what? Learning. Teachers committed to what? Teaching. Researchers committed to their profession in researching. The three things. The university is supposed to be agent of human development. The university is supposed to be agent of human development. Not where they sell and write. Because if the money doesn't go to the university, for example, the VC, what the VC will be doing that is not for him to be looking for a way to get money. He has to look for a way so that he will not do what? He will not fizzle out. Students will need other people, and he will not be concentrating on teaching and learning. All these things we are talking about, the most important is teaching and what? Learning. That's all. Because the graduates should have a national what? What's the type of project that are producing? Every time you produce all of them, do they have the attitudes? Do they have the skills? Do they have the feelings? Do they have mental coordination to be able to do on their own some or two things? I'm talking about sustainable development. Sustainable development after teaching students, for example, because sustainable development has to do with lack of discrimination. You don't discriminate. Are we helping students? Are we developing students, or are we exploiting them? That's the most important question. So what we have to, that's why I thank the organizer of this particular, because what we are talking about is attitude change, attitudinal change, even as we are lecturers in university. Let us change attitude, change our methodology. We know that the money we are collecting is too small. Compared with what is happening, 29 million, 30 million, they give you small money. And because of that, a lot of things happen. But remember, that's what you call job engagement, job satisfaction, isn't it? We have job satisfaction, we have job what? Engagement. In job satisfaction, I'm satisfied. I will do my job as far as I receive my pay. Well, isn't it? In job engagement, I will do my job no matter whatever happens. So, in quality education, we're talking about respecting yourself, respecting others, respecting authority, and respecting every person that comes our way. So that society will be a healthy society. Sustainable development deals with what? Technicalities. Deal with technicalities. To what extent do we have helped the students in making sure that they are doing well? And they don't necessarily we examine ourselves. If I'm in a class, I examine myself and whether I'm doing well or not. And that is where I come from. But there are challenges too we have in using political education for development. The challenges we have is that, remember that three-dimensional concept of education administration is the man, the job, and the environment. Three-dimensional concept, the man, the job, and what? The environment. I may be able to do my job as a man, but the environment may be lacking. If the environment is lacking, what do? Maybe I'm a lecturer, I have office, isn't it? I become a roving professor. That thing can delay you for that. In most of universities nowadays, there is no light. And they say that in band A, band B, band this. I'm going to pay millions. If there's no light, for example, there's no light here, how can we be here? That is one of the dangers of using AI, isn't it? Because in AI, there must be light, isn't it? For technology to work, there must be light for it to work. And if there's no light, it cannot work. And AI can break down, isn't it? It can break down as a machine. And all the data. That's one of the disadvantages of AI. But AI may have more patience than us, isn't it? AI has more patience with students than us. If that delay, you can move up. The AI will stay, isn't it? And continue with them. It's very kind, isn't it? It's very kind. So at the end of the day, there are so many things, but let me conclude so that we can go. So when you get this, when you get my own copy, you'll be able to take this. My conclusion is this. Protocol is possible if each stakeholder of education system can be unique role. The type of education which is desiderate to development cannot be left in the hands of government alone. The students, teachers, parents, government, private schools, owners, employers of labor, non-government organizations should collaborate to deliver quality education to a Nigerian child. This is because according to Luther King, look at what Luther King says. The prosperity of a country depends not on the abundance of free revenues, nor on the beauty of its public buildings, but it consists in the number of cultivated citizens, each man and woman of education, enlightenment and character. If we build a road and airport without building the mind, the undeveloped mind will actually destroy the road and airport. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Prof. Permit me. Permit me, distinguished professors, to stand on already existing protocol. I want to, at this time, request that we have a short break so that we can move around refresh, stretch our legs, and come back. The conference is not over. Remember, it's two-phased. We're still waiting for the inauguration of our escort of the RX chapter of Naive. So it's not over yet. Please, I also want to request that you tidy your environment. Please, let's not litter the place, please. We still have to come back to this auditorium. Thank you very much. For 20 minutes, please.